Hi students, welcome to Easy Elimu Learning Simplified. My name is Mbide, and in today's class we are going to have a look at writing letters. We are going to look at the two types of letters. We are going to have a look at the structure of an informal letter, and we are also going to look at a sample of an informal letter. So before we start, it is important to define what a letter is, and a letter is a form of written communication between two individuals or two organizations. It could be maybe a principal of one school writing a letter to the principal of another school. It could be you writing a letter to your friend who is in another school, or a cousin, a parent, an aunt, an uncle. And there are two types of letters. There's the formal letters and the informal letters. Informal letters, which is what we are looking at today, are letters that you write to your friends, to your relatives, while formal letters could be from one organization to another, or it could be you writing to a certain organization, a certain leader in a certain organization, maybe a principal of another school, or maybe your school wants to tour, let's say maybe a factory. So the letter that you will write requesting to be allowed to go into that factory, that is a formal letter. But for today, we are only focusing on writing an informal letter. So when we are writing a letter, specifically an informal letter, there are things to consider. There's the structure of how an informal letter looks like. And the first thing is that it has an address. This address is usually at the top right. It bears the name of the person you are writing the letter to, not your name, but the name of whoever is going to receive this letter. So if you're sending this letter to, let's say, your friend or your cousin, you write their name. It also has their postal office number, what is called the PO box. It has the location, so where are you sending this letter to? It could be Nairobi, Machakos, Mombasa, Eldoret, Rwanda, Uganda, wherever it is that this letter is going to, there's that particular address. And lastly, there's the date. The date here is when you are writing this letter. That is the date that you write. So we are going to have a look at how an address looks like. So we can have a look at this address and see how the address is supposed to look like. We have said the first thing is that it bears the recipient's name. The recipient is the person that you're writing this letter to, the person who will receive this letter. And in this case, it is Miriam Musila. And then it has the PO box, which is 17, the location, which is Makueni, and the date, which is 15th January 2018. Now take note of the punctuation. After the name Miriam Musila, there's a comma. After the PO box 17, there's a comma. After the location, Makueni, is a full stop. And finally, after the date, 15th January 2018, there's also a full stop. So take note of those punctuation marks and which one is used where. So after the address, after we have written the address, the next thing that follows is the salutation. The salutation is below the address, but on the left-hand side. Remember, the address is on the top right. The salutation is on the left side. And the salutation, so you write dear, whoever you're writing to. If it is an informal letter, like in our case here, you most likely will write the name. Dear Miriam, dear David, dear John, dear whoever. You put a comma. So, and remember, the name or the title should start with a capital letter. So if you write Dear Miriam, it will be Dear Miriam, Miriam with a capital M and then a comma. If it is an official letter, Dear Sir or Madam, that will also, the Sir, the S and M in Madam will also start with a capital letter. So let us have a look at a sample salutation and see how it will look like. So as you can see, we have written our address on the top right, and then the salutation, Dear Miriam, is below the address, but on the left side. The M for Miriam starts with a capital letter and is immediately followed by a comma. So after you have written the address, you have written the salutation, we now go to the body of the letter. The body here is now why you are writing this letter. Remember, this is an informal letter, so the language you use does not necessarily have to be official, but it must be grammatically correct. Remember to punctuate well, to use capital letters where you need to use capital letters. If you're writing, let's say you're writing to your friend who is in another school, you can start by greeting them, asking them how their school is, what their favorite subject is, what their favorite meal is, what their favorite sport is, and you can also give the same information. And also remember to give the information. Why are you writing this letter? Maybe you're writing this letter to invite your friend to maybe a birthday party, a graduation party, a farewell party. So remember to also include the information for the main purpose of writing the letter. So at the end, we are going to have a look at a sample of an informal letter, and we will see what is included in the body of that particular letter. So you have written your letter, you started with the address, you went to the salutation, and to the body of the letter, you have passed all the information that you needed to pass, and it's now time to end your letter. So the ending. So this is again an informal letter. So you can end it in different ways depending on your relationship with whoever you're writing this letter to. If it is your best friend, if it is your cousin, if it is your sibling, there are different ways you can end. You can write best wishes, your classmate, your friend, yours truly. So just depending on the relationship that you have with the recipient of this letter, there are different ways to end. And the ending is usually at the bottom right of your letter. Bottom right. So after you have ended the letter, maybe you have written yours truly or your friend, your cousin, you put a comma, and just below that, you now write your name. This is now where your name appears in this entire letter. It is at the end. We are going to have a look at how the ending is supposed to look like. Most of the time, it is at the bottom right of the letter. Bottom right of your letter. So you can see the ending right there. It is at the bottom right. Your friend, comma, and then below it, Alice. So let us now have a look at a sample of an informal letter, and we are going to see if it has all these features that we have discussed. So this is our informal letter. We can have a look at the address. Miriam Musila, P.O. Box 17, Makueni, 15th January 2018. Dear Miriam, I hope you are well. I received your letter and I'm sorry I took long to reply. Since joining high school, a lot has happened. I settled in quickly and I am slowly adapting to the high school life. My favorite subjects are English and Kiswahili. The teachers here are very friendly and we are fond of them. I have joined the basketball team and I am enjoying so far. The main aim for writing this letter is to invite you to my sister's graduation party. She recently graduated from Kenyatta University, and the party is on the 15th of February. It starts at 2 o'clock. I hope to see you there. Remember to reply to this letter and update me on your school. Your friend, Alice. When we look at this letter, we can see the address. We can see that it is well punctuated. We can see also there's the salutation. When you go to the body of this letter, you can see she starts with greeting and asking and telling her that I hope you are well, and catching up a bit on, giving information about her high school, how she's finding that experience. And then in the second paragraph, she goes straight to the point of the main aim of writing the letter and signs off by saying, remember to reply to this letter and update me on your school. So this is a short letter. It can be as long as you want. This is just a short letter, and I hope you have understood. You are now able to write an informal letter. And so that's it for this class. You can practice further by doing the quiz. Write a letter to your friend, inviting her for your birthday party, which will be held at your home over the April holidays. Use the guidelines above. Remember to use those guidelines to remember the punctuation in the address, remember the salutation, how the body looks like, and the signing off. Thank you for tuning in, and see you in the next class.